So I feel like I have to make a disclaimer for this like every single time I make a video, but yeah, I am working on like a bigger project at the moment. That's why you're not seeing as many uploads on the channel. So if you're wondering why that is, then I update like every maybe week or so on the community tab post place. I don't post on there a lot, but when I do, it's mostly just updates on stuff on the channel, etc, etc. But that's besides the point of this video. It's just a quick disclaimer. But as you can tell by the title, in this video we're going to be talking about if Garou could be facing Boros. Believe it or not, I never thought I would say that in chapter 165 of One Punch Man. Now of course we don't know if this is Boros. Most people are pretty much just suggesting that this is like Boros's, like maybe someone from Boros's species, or maybe a relative to Boros, or who knows, it could be Boros himself. We don't actually know all the details, but of course I'm going to be talking about whether or not we could see a fight in the next chapter, or even just a fight in the future of this arc, or the last parts of this arc, because as we saw in the last chapter, we saw that the Blast group were basically coming down to earth, I'm suggesting, or that's what they said they're gonna do. They have to stop Garou from like breaking the seal or something, or the seal that they placed on earth. But apart from that, before we get into talking about all of that, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new, because if you can't already tell, I post a lot of One Punch Man content. So if you like that stuff, then this place is definitely for you. But apart from that, let's get into it. Now, starting off with something I'm sure a lot of you want to know my stance on, which is like whether or not I think Garou's attack in the last chapter was something that is possibly able to surpass Boros's collapsing star Aura in canon. And I'll just be straight up here. I just don't think it's a feat that is more impressive than Boros's collapsing star in canon, because not only did it not have the potential to destroy the world or the surface of the world, it definitely made like it made an effect on the planet. Like it was a pretty big move. Like it made like the planet bulge, or it created like extra land on the other side of the planet, which of course is one of the most impressive, probably like the second best feats after like Boros's collapsing star in canon, of course, and maybe Saika Sorochi's like continental like slice, I guess. But I'm pretty sure this is like a solid second place in terms of like the best feats in the series of One Punch Man, apart from obviously Saitama's punches and all of that. Pretty much just excluding Saitama, Garou's feat in the last chapter was like probably like top 2 best things we've seen so far in One Punch Man strength wise. But I don't think it's something that's above Boros's collapsing star in canon, unfortunately, because Boros's collapsing star in canon is like something that could, depending on how you want to which translation you want to, I guess, use, it could destroy the earth. But the translation I like to use, or I'm pretty sure this is like the proper translation, is it was able to wipe the surface of the earth, pretty much killing like all life form on earth. So already it's like a planetary feat, or like a small planetary feat, I don't know. But moving on to the main topic of the video, which is whether or not I think this fight could happen. And I mean, it definitely could, because we see that they are coming down to earth. We could have maybe not a fight, but maybe an encounter, which would of course be just as interesting, because I want to see Garou engage with the Blast group and what exactly is going to happen when Blast gets down there to see what Garou has done. And of course I want to see Saitama's interaction with Blast, and of course we need to also take into account that Blast might not even go to where Saitama and Garou are. He could just go to the other side, the temple that they managed to, I guess, reveal from Garou's whole attack, because we know that in the last chapter they managed to like reveal like a dragon temple, and I guess that's probably where Blast is going. So we might not even see them encounter, but I just personally hope they do, because if they do, that's going to be another really popular discussion point when the chapter drops. Because first of all, I'm sure everyone wants to know like who this Boros like figure is, and whether or not he's a relative to Boros, or whether it's Boros himself, who knows. But once we get the like details on this character, I'm sure that it's gonna be a pretty big talking point, and it's probably going to be a pretty important talking point, or a pretty important thing that's going to happen in general. Because if something like this is, I guess, if someone like this, sorry, is in the Blast group, then we should be expecting the Blast group in terms of strength to be on a completely different level, because we know that Boros is like, I mean, we've seen what Boros can do. He's like one of the strongest characters in the series till this day, and he's been dead for years now. So anyone that even looks like Boros is gonna be pretty damn strong. So once we get revealed, you know, maybe where he's from, who he is, you know, how strong he is, then yeah, maybe then we could maybe put him up against the other characters like Garou and etc, etc. But for now, I would personally say we shouldn't get our hopes up too high, because I personally don't really think we're gonna see a fight between, you know, this Boros like figure and Garou. But if we do, say on the chance we do, it would be pretty brief. I don't think it's gonna be like an all-out brawl like Saitama versus, you know, Garou that we just had recently. It's probably gonna be like maybe a couple of punches, a few exchanges, nothing too serious, and then we might go into some more dialogue. That's pretty much my prediction for if they were to fight or to encounter each other. I quickly want to take like a segment of this video to talk about maybe the reaction of the fan base, you know, with Saitama versus Garou. And I'll say straight up here, my own personal opinion, I don't like hate this ending. Well, assuming this is the end, who knows, we could see like a god interfere and maybe do some god stuff, because we know God is still watching Saitama and Garou through like the little house that they're talking in. So, you know, God could always come in and do what God does and manipulate and change people and all that good stuff. But say this is the end of the fight, I don't actually hate the end of this fight. I feel like it's pretty good that it's different to the webcomic. I mean, at first, I'm not going to lie, I did want to see like, you know, a really tough, brutal fight with Garou going all out and being dark like how he was in the webcomic. But I feel like having a bit of a different ending in the manga could actually help the entire franchise by not having a one-to-one copy, and, you know, maybe changing some stuff that maybe one wanted to originally but didn't know how to tackle it whilst he was, you know, doing the webcomic. Maybe now that the manga is here, he has like a different idea and a different way he wants to approach this whole fight, which I respect, because I'm pretty sure anyone with a pair of eyes can see that one is definitely taking a different approach with this fight than in the webcomic. And we don't exactly know what his goal is, but all we can do is wait until the fight is completely wrapped up, and maybe this has some importance that will play in later on in the series, and maybe we'll understand why he did this, you know, near the ending of the entire series, which would take pretty long because One Punch Man is going to be a pretty long series. But as for the complaints for the people that are saying, you know, the fight fell off, etc, etc, I feel like those guys just to be as nice as possible, I just don't think these guys really know what they're talking about. Because I mean, even though, you know, this fight was supposed to be a really brutal fight, I feel like it not happening doesn't mean One Punch Man has fallen off or One Punch Man is not as good as it was. Because to be honest, most of the fan base like what's going on. It's pretty much like a minority of people who don't like what's going on, because One Punch Man, yeah, it is a battle manga, but I don't think it's carried by its fights, and I don't think this fight needed to be exactly like the webcomic to be good. And I do think this fight was good, and I do enjoy it, and I have enjoyed how this fight has ended. But apart from that, that's just pretty much all I have to say for this video. Again, this video was pretty loose, not really a script behind this video. I just wanted to talk about the recent stuff in the chapter, since I haven't had much time, because this One Punch Man big video that I've been doing has been taking up a lot of my time. But apart from that, that's all I have to say. If you like the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. And apart from that, I'll see you in my next video.